Most people believe that they're being responsible by working longer, but what if you're actually stealing years from your own life? A New York Life study revealed something shocking. 48% of people who retired between 62 and 70 wish they had done so sooner. On average, they wish that they retired a full 4 years than before they actually did. That's 4 years of their prime health years, 4 years that they can never get back. And they realized one simple thing: they can never buy back the memories or the experiences they never had. Over the past decade and a half, we've helped hundreds of people navigate their retirement decisions. And I can tell you firsthand, the biggest regrets don't come from retiring too early. They come from waiting too long. But there are 5 psychological traps that keep people chained to their desk when they should be living their best years. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to avoid becoming another retirement regret statistic. The first trap is what I call the 1 more year mentality. Most people tell themselves that they feel safer if they just work 1 more year. But here's what actually happens. I had a client, we'll call him Robert, who was 62 and he was financially ready to retire. His plan looked good. And it showed a 94% success rate of never running out of money. But there was so much uncertainty in his mind with the economy and with the markets. He kept saying, I'll just do 1 more year because I just want to feel a little bit more secure, save a little bit more. And then 1 more year turned into 2 and then turned into 3. And by the time he finally retired, his success rate, it went up, but it only improved to 96%. And he traded 3 years of his life for 2 percentage points of certainty. So for you, it's important to get clear on what enough actually looks like, and then run what if scenarios to see if the impact of some of these uncertainties in your mind, what impact they really have on your retirement plan. And this can help shrink that worry so that you can make a decision based on the right things instead of something that you fear. The second trap is the safety illusion, because people think that working, it keeps them more secure because they have the steady paycheck coming in. And I get it. There's something comforting about having that constant stream of income coming in from work and knowing that you're not yet touching your assets to live off of. But here's the truth that most people don't realize. I know someone who was 63 and kept working because she felt safer with her salary. Meanwhile, her grandchildren were growing up in another state, and she missed their first steps and their first words and some of these early year things where they actually wanted to spend time with grandma. And she realized that there might only be a few more of those years left where they actually want to hang out with their grandma instead of hanging out with their friends. So it's important to really evaluate that safety that you think you're getting from the paycheck might mostly be in your head. Because with a smart withdrawal strategy and then optimizing Social Security and proper investment allocation, you can replicate that same peace of mind. But you can't rewind the clock and reclaim those precious years with family. Here's something important to remember. You're not just choosing between working and not working. You're choosing between guaranteed income and guaranteed time. And time is the only thing that we can never earn back. Now, before I get into the next one, let me know how this is landing with you. Click the like button if you've ever fallen into one of these, maybe the 1 more year trap mentality, or let me know in the comments, what's really keeping you at your job right now? Is it passion or is it fear? The third trap is one that hits high achievers especially hard, and that is the identity crisis. Because for decades, your identity might be wrapped up in what you do. It's a title on your business card or the role that you played for your company or your clients or your community. So when your work slows down or stops, it can feel like you're losing yourself. And you might wonder, if I'm not the executive or the business owner or the leader, then who am I going to be? But here's the truth. Retirement, it isn't about losing your identity. It's about expanding it. Because when you step away from the grind, you actually create space for this rediscovery process to find those passions and those things that you've neglected or those things that you haven't had time for. Time for the relationships that matter most, or time to mentor or create or serve or contribute in ways that your old schedule never allowed. Retirement isn't a finish line. It's just the launch pad. You're not walking away from who you are. You're discovering who you were meant to become. The fourth trap is something related to the previous one, and it's called the success trap. It usually affects a lot of entrepreneurs or people with the entrepreneur mindset. Those who they've thrived on winning their whole career. And as they get into their 60s, they keep pushing, even when the returns or the benefits keep shrinking. I had a client who was a business owner, and he was 65 and he kept expanding his company, and he knew he was ready to sell and he wanted to do that. And he wanted to start doing some of the things that he was always looking forward to, but he just didn't have time. But he would say, I've got 1 more big contract. I'd like to get that done and then I'll be ready. And it was always like another opportunity came up and he continued to go after that next one. He was so focused on the next win that he couldn't see he was already winning at life. His health was good, his marriage was strong, and his finances were solid. He was in that period of life where he had enough money and he had enough health, but his time was lacking. The thing that helped him was seeing what this next stage of life, where he was headed eventually. And he didn't want to get to the point where he had time in retirement and money, but then his health was declining. What he wanted was to take advantage of that magical triangle, which maybe you've seen before, where all three of these are equal. That's where the magic happens. And he knew that then success isn't about maximizing everything or just the financial. It's about optimizing what matters the most. And at some point, what matters the most isn't the bank account, it's your life account. And the fifth trap is the health reality gap related to what we just looked at. Most people plan as if their health is going to decline slowly and predictably, but that's not how health really works, right? I've got a family friend who had his retirement date set and he was looking forward to it. And he finally got there and retired, and he began enjoying life. His family, he was going out on his boat more and doing fishing, and he was in his 60s and he was loving life. And 6 months later, he was diagnosed with cancer and he died 6 months after that. We just don't know what's going to happen next. But here's what the research shows. Your early 60s are your peak active years. You know, it could even extend into your early 70s, but I think you know what I mean. That time in your 60s, perfect for hiking, traveling, playing with your grandkids. But every year you delay retirement, you're giving your most energetic and healthy years for extra money that you probably won't ever spend. So how do you avoid becoming another retirement statistic? There's a few steps here. First, get clear on your enough number. It's not your maximum number, it's just your enough number. You find that by running projections, often called the Monte Carlo simulation. And think of Monte Carlo, it's when they run those 1,000 different scenarios, the good and the bad, but think of it like a retirement stress test. And instead of assuming that everything goes perfectly, it runs a bunch of what if scenarios. You know, what if the market crashes early? What if inflation is higher than expected? Or what if you live longer than expected? And if your plan holds up 85% of those scenarios, you're likely on track. And the important thing to remember here is that other 15% doesn't mean that you're going to fail. It really just means there's a 15% chance that you're going to have to make an adjustment at some point along the way, which is pretty common anyways. Second thing to do is a health timeline assessment. Look at your family history, your current health, and then your energy levels. How many truly active years do you have left? Don't assume that you're going to be spry forever. Plan for the reality that your health's going to plateau, and then in your 60s, it'll start to decline. And then third, calculate the cost of working longer, because it's not just about extra income. Factor higher taxes, maybe missed Roth conversion opportunities during that sweet spot that I've talked about in previous videos. Maybe I could link to it here, or lost Social Security optimization strategies. But most importantly, factor in the opportunity cost of those prime health years. If your grandkids are important, what's the dollar value of missing their childhood? Or what's the cost of postponing that dream vacation until your knees can't handle it anymore? And then fourth, have an honest conversation with yourself with a journal, thinking about what's really keeping you working. Is it passion and purpose? Then by all means, keep going. But if it's fear or anxiety or the need to prove something, those might not be good reasons to sacrifice your remaining healthy years. And finally, remember, you can always adjust your spending, but you can't buy back your time. If you retire and money does get tight, you can cut expenses or adjust lifestyle. But if you wait too long, your health declines. No amount of money is going to give you back those lost years. Now, I'm not telling everyone to retire immediately. What I'm saying is don't let fear or worry steal those best years. Don't become part of that 48% who look back with regret. The clients I work with who are the happiest in retirement, they're the ones that maybe they don't have the most money, but they're the ones who had the courage to step away while they still had the time to truly live. And they optimized for life, not just for their bank account. And that made a big, big difference. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button, and hopefully it can help other people out there who are struggling with the same decisions. And then check out this video to make your retirement even better. Take care.